Hello, welcome to Romance on the Rocks.
A drinky book club.
Where we talk about booze and books.
Who are we? Friends.
Well, that's Claire.
That's Stina, Christina.
And that's Laurel.
Hi.
Alright, so what are we drinking today, girls?
Steeple Ridge.
Ooh.
Bourbon.
Pedro Jimenez sherry casks imported from Spain.
It's by Lonely Oak Distillery out of the fine state of Iowa.
Let's see, and it is supposed to have flavors of dark fruits, vanilla, dark cherry, caramel, chocolate, and a little bit of brown sugar. This will be fun.
Yeah.
And so we also picked this because the book we are reading, Fake Out Hearts by Nikki Lawson, has whiskey in the first part of the book.
Scotch in it specifically.
Oh, scotch, yes.
But
we figured, why not?
none of us actually like scotch, so...
Well, we like scotch, but we felt more whiskey today.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, bottoms up, girls.
Okay. Excuse the dogs.
That didn't last.
Ooh, I like this.
I got the knobbly cup.
I can definitely get the brown sugar out of that.
I like how sweet it is. It's a good bourbon.
Which is a surprise, because you're not like the sweet one. I don't like the sweet drinks.
But it's also got a bit of heat to it.
I normally like the sweet stuff with my rum.
I mean, it's only 40%
yeah,
alcohol.
it's not that hot.
It's not that... I don't know. Something about it is good.
It's warming.
Mm-hmm. As bourbon should be.
Of course.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Should we pick up the book?
All right. So, like we mentioned earlier, this is Fake Out Hearts by Nikki Lawson. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the synopsis out of Amazon. He's my ex's rival, the gorgeous, tatted up bad boy of the NHL, and now he's my husband. When my ex breaks up with me in a very public way, all I want to do is hide from the world. But instead, I end up having the hottest night of my life with Theo Camden, a right-winger for the Aces and my ex's biggest rival. It was only supposed to be one night, but when Theo finds out that I'll be deported since I lost my job after the breakup, he proposes something else. Marriage. We'll tie the knot in Vegas and spend a few years living together, pretending this thing between us is real. Then I'll be free to stay in the country, and we can both go our own ways. But being fake married is more complicated than I thought, especially when the line between fake and real starts to blur. Kisses that were supposed to be just for show start to feel like something else, and when Theo learns to cook my favorite foods and calls me my wife, I realize I'm doing the one thing I was never supposed to do. I'm falling for the husband I can't keep, because once he learns the secret I've been hiding, this will all be over.
Well, Christina likes her hockey. You like your hockey
I
romances.
love my hockey romances, even though I despise all sports ball.
You like the sports ones and you give like a negative amount of fucks about sports.
I know.
So our main tropes are...
Fake relationship, which goes for the trope of the month that we've got,
yes.
which is, in fact, fake relationships. But this does have other tropes, too. Sports hockey, forced proximity, and the marriage of convenience are some of the ones that are listed in Amazon as well. Alrighty.
I feel like improbably rich, despite what you do, should be a trope as well.
Yeah.
We will add that to the list.
We adding that to the list.
Yes, we will add that to the list of
Stupid
extreme
tropes.
wealth. Well,
yeah.
we do have millionaire as optional tropes.
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty common trope in most of these romance novels,
Especially
is that it's
for the
like
man.
always the rich guy,
Yes.
right?
And this is Claire and my first hockey romance.
Yeah, so really we should say just it falls under the I think all of the romance novels have a rich guy at this point.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that they all have a rich guy at this
Most
point.
of them.
Or some like...
not all of them. Most of them do.
Yes. Or some like, noble or royal or something like that who falls in love with a commoner, right? It's like...
Oh god, the Regencies. We'll get to those.
Even
Those are
the
real.
vampire
We'll get to
ones
those.
sometimes.
But the vampire ones do too,
They do too.
right? Like
But see, the vampires make sense being obscenely wealthy because they live so freaking long.
Yeah, but my last one, my non-spicy Twilight series, they were royals.
Yeah.
But you also were complaining because they were supposed to be spicy Twilight.
It was supposed to be spicy Twilight.
And there was no spicy.
Not for a long time.
There were no cocks.
Yeah.
They came around eventually, just not enough.
Yeah. It was just entirely too long to get to the smut.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to wait for it.
No, I'm not a slow burn person.
Yeah.
No.
I want them to fit it in a good plot right away.
Unlike this one, which really sex gets introduced
Just goes straight in.
right away. But
it does.
We do want to mention this is the third book in a 3-book series. Potentially 4 books.
None of which we read.
I've read them.
Okay.
She's read them.
But
then
didn't.
it was your idea to read this one.
Yeah, I had read this independently and through a series of random selections, and we ended up at this book.
And you told us how much you love the hockey books, and I was
Talk
like...
about slow burn. I'm definitely feeling our whiskey.
Yeah.
Well, none of us have eaten anything
eaten.
either, so this will make it more unhinged and fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the book where we have notes and some of our conversation about the story.
We will not do page numbers because we're reading on different formats, books, Kindles, whatever. And depending on how you zoom, you might not be on the same page.
And we found the percentages don't work
We're
very
inaccurate.
well. So we're just going to say the chapter.
We'll give you some direct quotes maybe, but really, if you really want to find them, go read the book.
The entire idea of this is for you to also bang your head against your table, as I did with this book.
Yes, and we're going to go in chronological order for the most part.
Yes.
There might be some jumping
There will be a little
around.
jumping around.
And the more whiskey we drink, the more unhinged it might get.
Yeah, this is going to jump around.
sounds good to me.
This is going to jump around like the gym in that condo.
Right? God, that's so...
It's going to change places at least 3 times.
I read the book a couple of times, and then you mentioned it when we were talking about it.
Yes,
And I was very confused. And then I
Yes.
read it again and took my notes. I was like, oh shit, it really does.
It really
Yep,
does.
it does.
It starts off downstairs and then it's upstairs.
Who moves their gym from upstairs to the basement?
It's Hogwarts.
Also, who has multi-floor condos?
It's Hogwarts. It's the magical moving rooms and staircases. I guess.
I thought the whole point of condos was that it was all like living on like one floor unless you have like a loft, but it was clearly not a loft.
No.
Anyway,
They have a basement.
And yeah,
In a condo.
They did mention a basement in the condo, but we'll get to that when we get to the condo discussion. We're jumping ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, let's get started.
All right, let's dive into
Backing
chapter
up.
1.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I have to bring this up because it made me laugh so hard.
We're not in chapter 1, we're in chapter 3. Sorry,
Oh.
dear listeners.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry,
It's our first note.
We're already drunk.
yes. All right, so this is in chapter 3. It is told from Theo, our main character, our hero, the bad boy of the NHL. And he's talking about Becca, who is our love interest. And to quote the book, it's, or noticing the way her smooth ivory skin sparkles in the moonlight. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody's skin who naturally sparkles in the sunlight, moonlight.
Unless you're in Twilight. What the fuck is this, Twilight?
Yes.
I mean, if you have fancy lotion, maybe. That's
You should
sparkly.
be concerned.
When we were teenagers, we had the sparkly lotion.
Or the spray,
Yes.
the glitter spray,
Yeah.
the body spray, when that was like the 90s.
Oh, yes.
So this
That
is
you got
a
at Bath and Body
multiple
Works.
POV book, and so this is from Theo's point of view, the main character.
Yes, it's
Yes.
from main female, main male character.
Yes.
All right, so that was the big one. The sparkly skins, like seriously. I don't know about, have you stood in the sun and just sparkled?
I would be very concerned
mean-
if I stood in the sun and sparkled without, like, outside help.
Of the 3 of us, you're the most close to the ivory skin.
Yes.
Do you sparkle?
No.
Yeah.
Dermatologist, please pitch in and tell us if it should be concerning if we sparkle in the sun.
Again, nothing against Nikki and the author and how she writes the story, but it's just stuff we think is funny. Again, these are romance novels. Everybody loves them. Everybody reads them. But some of the shit doesn't make fucking sense.
I may frighten or blind people with the porcelain color of my skin when I stand in the sun, but I definitely don't fucking sparkle. Just saying. All right. So in the same chapter, probably maybe a page or so later, they talk about her height because they're drinking a bottle of Macallan. Okay, they're just pounding a bottle of Macallan, which 1, you don't fucking do, but 2.
No, crazy expensive.
Yeah, he says she's tiny, barely 5'7", so it wouldn't surprise me if she's a lightweight.
Wait, and we all mark this.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm 5'1". 5'7" is not tiny. That's
No.
huge tall for
No.
a woman.
I'm 5'6", and Laurel and Claire can both attest to the fact I am in no way, shape, or form a lightweight.
No, you're not, but you also have, like, just a weirdly, like, good way to, like, metabolize alcohol. You have, like, a super liver or something like that. Like,
She has practice.
maybe tolerance, but also, like, I don't know. If I drank as much as Christina did, I would be dead.
You have drank as much as me.
I have accidentally
together.
drank as much as you because you were ordering the margaritas.
But they're carrying around this Macallan and they're pounding it.
Yes.
Like they're just swigging out of the bottle as they walk down the street.
And they don't even finish the bottle, and then they leave it somewhere.
Yes.
Oh.
This is a super... I mean, granted, he's supposedly this famous all-get-out football player, and she's currently unemployed.
But they just happen to find it at the sports bar, by the way.
And someone just hands them
Yeah.
Well,
a bottle of Macallan at the sports bar that they then walk around and...
Isn't it like a popular hockey bar for where the athletes go? So maybe the sports bar stocks the stuff the athletes like.
And they just give them to the athletes that they can take with their girlfriends or what the fuck ever.
I'm sure they just charge it to the tab of whoever's paying that night.
Either way, it's abuse of decent scotch. Like,
True.
Unacceptable.
But
anyway.
if you're 5'7", you're buying tall pants. You're buying pants for tall women.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. You're buying solidly average, like, pants because I'm, like, the petite.
You don't need to get them hemmed.
Because when I buy short, I still have to have hem.
Yes, exactly. So you're buying, like, regular-ass pants like a lucky human. And you're probably buying regular-ass shirts, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no torso, but that's a different problem. But, you know, between all of those things, 5'7", she's not tiny. She's... I mean, maybe she's a lightweight, but, like, don't say that she's tiny at 5'7" and then also assume that she's a lightweight when she is above average for her height for a woman.
Well, and so I think it's in the same chapter, right, where they say he's 6'4".
Yes.
So he's tall.
Yes, but, like, when they start getting into, like, some of the sexy stuff that we'll get to in a little bit, she has to, like, physically jump high to kiss him.
Yes.
Like, I didn't jump.
And we've tested this.
Yes, okay.
Like, so if he bends and she goes up on the tiptoes, it works. We've tested this kind of. We've blocked it. One of our good friends is 6'4".
Yes.
And you tried that because
I'm 5'6". We're close in height. So, like, we didn't kiss, but we were just, like, looking. I'm like, no, I don't have to jump on him.
She doesn't have to jump. And an inch isn't going to make a difference. Actually, it's going to work more against the jumping.
The jumping would be fun.
Yes.
I don't think it's...
You jump not to reach. You jump because it's fun.
Yes.
Right.
Like, I had a fuck buddy that I jumped, and that was a lot of fun.
But I thought they were jumping to kiss. I thought she was saying that she had to
jump
to kiss him.
You don't have to jump to kiss them!
Which is really just inviting you to just, like, basically wail him in the face every time you try to kiss him. Which is really just not sexy.
You probably,
think about
knock him out, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna... I mean, he's a hockey player, right? So you're just gonna knock his veneers out of the front of his face.
I guess he's used to that. He likes that.
I mean, that's what happens in his sport, right?
I mean, he likes to have the shit beaten out of his face, clearly.
Right.
So, I noticed also in chapter 3, and Theo's talking, that he calls her a true princess, that she's not being treated right by the boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, that she has been with, but also has been working for him on his show, reality TV show.
The ex will come back around.
But the princess thing, but I can already tell she's sweet and genuine, a true princess, and Kaplan never deserved a second of her time, and I just groan, and then it just keeps on going, keeps calling her princess over and over throughout the book.
It was a little overkill.
Yeah. Oh. I wouldn't want to be called princess.
No, that annoys me.
It does.
I mean, maybe it doesn't...
sarcastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's an implication there that she has to be, like, cared for, right? Or that there's a damsel in distress.
Someone's always taking care of her.
Bent to this, right?
Yeah, true. That is the one thing about this character in this book I didn't enjoy, was that she is very much painted as slightly helpless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And none of us are that way.
Which is hardly the case, because, like, all of this rotates around the fact that she's from Canada and she's here on a green card. And, like, the reason that this whole fake relationship comes about is because she's worried that the Mounties are going to come looking for her now that she's, like, not working for this ex-boyfriend as a social media manager or something like that, right?
She's going to be deported.
But there's, like, this whole thing where it's, like, she's been in Canada essentially by herself this whole time, and he's calling her a princess, and I'm like...
In the U.S. this whole time.
The U.S. this whole time, yeah.
And then they also call her a puck bunny. Apparently, that's a thing.
Yes, it's a hockey term for the girls who just like to fuck the hockey players.
Yeah.
And everybody says she's not, but that's all she dates, though.
It's just a play on fuck bunny.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, now you can't.
They say,
really
oh,
hear
no,
it.
she's not, because they're serious about her, but she is.
Yeah. She's not like the other puck bunnies, they say.
She isn't looking for the quick fuck, is what they're trying to
And
say.
supposedly
Okay,
not
but
in it
then-
for the
but
money.
she-
I don't know.
She's
Not in
not
it for
looking
the
for the
money.
quick fuck, but they go straight into the fucking by like the first like.
It's
third-
in the next chapter.
The first night they're
the first
together.
10th of the book.
It's the
Right.
next chapter.
It is the next chapter.
Okay.
Chapter 4 out of like 32 some odd
Okay, so
chapters.
then we get to that. That's a good segue.
They're more
Chapter
like
4. Becca, who is the woman we've been talking about as a main character.
all the oral.
So much oral.
And she has so many orgasms from the oral, which is like.
I mean, you can get a good if they know what they're doing. You can get a few good ones in.
yes.
How many is like
There were
possible
so
here?
many.
So many.
I lost count after 5.
Yeah.
And there was all kinds of weird up against things and holding
Yeah.
her up against the door. I mean, obviously he's a big dude, but
Yeah, but they don't talk about the weight, so maybe she's just stick tiny. But like,
Yeah,
even
but-
if you like pick, that's the other thing.
but
All
like
these-
dead weight, like when you're, yeah.
I don't know, all of this stuff and all of the sex, like, isn't it bad on the guy's back? Isn't there like some damage done? Like, no matter how big the guy is, I don't think you can sustain holding and doing the thrusting and
So
against the wall.
I will say this, that romance books gave me an incorrect impression of how easy it is to fuck against walls in the shower, in any position really besides laying horizontally on a bed.
I've done it on a yoga ball.
I had a friend that got dropped
I mean-
once because she dated a guy that was too small and he dropped her on her head.
But the yoga ball, if the guy is sitting and you're on top and you just bounce, it works.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As long as you don't, he's got to have core strength so you don't fall off the yoga
Yeah,
ball.
that's fair.
Oh, I could do that.
I mean, there's sex swings too, but like you don't realize how difficult it is, especially if there's a height difference like this, right? Like, there's a solid 4-6 inch height difference between them, so he like has to hold her up and against the wall.
Yeah, but like
while
when you're
he's
coming,
fucking her.
you're not like gripping things, holding on. There's nothing to hold on to.
No,
He's holding
no.
her up. It's not like her legs
Both of you are
wrapped around.
sweating,
Yeah,
right?
like
And maybe she's holding on to his ears or his hair?
I don't. Maybe his shoulders. Maybe.
Wait, no, but if they're it's what, like for
They're
oral,
not- they're not
if she's
fucking
if
oral.
it's
Yeah.
oral, he's holding her up.
Were they having oral against the wall?
yeah.
Okay,
Against
they
the
don't do
door.
it.
Okay, that's impossible.
They don't do it till they go to bed. I don't think.
I mean,
All
what
that
does
stuff on
what
the
does he
wall's
do?
oral.
Lay down on the ground and she crouches over him, like
No,
there's
he
something.
goes to his knees and then lifts her up. Is usually what happens in a
Oh.
lot of the standing oral.
Okay, but still, that's
That's
challenging at best.
But then at least they're against the wall because I've read books where the oral is just standing there and he just holds her and there's nothing to prop up against.
They're like 69ing and like there's no explanation of how it's happening. Yeah, no, I get
And
it.
yeah, no, the oral and the weird sex go on for multiple chapters.
Go on for multiple
This
chapters,
kills
like,
me. We're like, how does that work?
and then in the next chapter, like it's implied that she like she's like sitting on her knees and she's like basically reverse like cowgirling him or whatever it is that they call that position, and then she like stands up, she gets from her knees to her feet and stands up and like somehow does like a sissy squat on his dick,
But it doesn't fall out.
but it doesn't
It
fall
always
out.
falls out.
How
Come on
does it
now.
not fall out? You
I mean,
can't
this
get
is
up
just
without
like,
coming out.
Look, girl,
It always falls
Is his
out.
dick like magically
Look.
3 feet long?
You can't just spin on it. It's not like that.
no, you
no,
can't.
no, that's not. You have to be really careful when you spin on a dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to break it.
Or even when you like change positions, right? So she went
Right.
from like her knees to her feet. You're definitely gonna stand up too fast and
Yeah,
it's gonna fall out.
it's
and
gonna
it's gonna
fall
be
out,
awkward.
yeah. And
right?
you gotta put it back
but
in.
also, like, what kind of quads does this bitch have? Like, I realize that she's a
Yeah.
dancer, but like, look, I'm a weightlifter and I can like squat a lot. I cannot sissy squat on somebody's dick in the heat of the
try.
moment, right? Unless I'm pushing back against something.
Okay, so now all of us are trying to
How
squat.
are we getting? She
Okay.
gets from the knees to like a. Is it like one of these?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that is
so she just
absolutely
picked
how
one.
it is
Wait, where's
implied
the
that she
dildo?
did.
Where's the dildo we can use?
We bought this dildo to
Here,
decide our
okay.
next book.
Okay, wait.
So
Hold
all
on.
of us are on our knees.
Hold on, listeners. We're
Okay.
gonna.
We're gonna. Okay, so
Okay,
let's say
one
that
leg.
here. We'll use the iPad to mount. Okay, so she's
I
here.
feel like
There's
we
no
need to
way.
record
There's no
this.
way it
It's
didn't come
here.
out. Okay, let's see it.
And then she she like does.
She
No,
gets up
you
on-
come out. It comes
Yes,
out.
it comes out. It definitely comes out.
It's a beautiful confetti dildo, by the way, and it was
Yeah.
suction cupped to her Kindle.
You'll see it on social media. This is how we're going to choose books from here on out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So the
As one leg goes up, it slides out.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Well, I didn't do Kegels because it's a cheap ass dildo. It's meant for fun. We're not using it.
No, but still, the confetti dildo says that it's impossible for her to have gotten from her knees to her feet without his dick falling out.
You can clench it, but it still doesn't. Clenching doesn't. It's too heavy.
That requires entirely more what's the word I'm looking for?
It would have to be like 6 feet long to like stay in there.
Yeah.
Does he follow her?
It requires entirely more coordination than they should have at this point, having drank more than half of a bottle of Macallan.
Yes.
And being sweaty, sex
and,
dehydrated.
Well, and she's supposed to have
Right.
orgasms multiple times.
Yeah.
She's
She's already
had
had like 5
You
orgasms.
lose all control.
Yes.
Yeah. This is.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Confetti
impossible.
dildo.
Says
no.
Census says no.
No.
Anyway.
I feel like that is going to be a thing we're going to ask Confetti dildo.
Yes.
Hey, Confetti dildo.
What does confetti dildo
Is
say?
this unlikely sex
Okay.
position possible?
We need more whiskey.
Laurel
yes
needs
or
more
no?
Yeah, a few of us need more whiskey.
Whiskey break.
Whiskey break. More of the Steeple Ridge. That's all
Look at
we're drinking tonight.
Cheers, bitches.
Cheers,
Woo!
bitches.
Cheers.
Thanks, Confetti
Here we go.
dildo.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. All right. Moving on from the weird sex positions, we will come back to this because there are more. It will be other sex. And excuse the dog. He's confused. He thinks that we're talking about him.
Yeah.
So Claire and Christina, you both had the same one in chapter 7 with Theo as the narrator.
Yeah, but we skipped over the fake marriage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
you're
after the crazy sex, he discovers that she's gonna lose her green card.
Yes.
Because that evening,
Which is also like a misunderstanding of how green cards work because like the Mounties are not going to fucking come
Not
after
unless
you.
someone explicitly calls immigration.
also
even then
no
you
one's
have time.
upset to go to Canada. People want to go to Canada. Yeah, with what's going on
Look.
politically, we might all want to go to Canada.
Look, I wouldn't say no to going to Canada. But anyway,
Toronto.
what I'm saying is that like they won't like come after you the moment that you stop being employed in the United
isn't
States.
there like some
There's a
time
grace
frame
period.
and
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, time frame plus. Yeah, I mean, it's not like she's going to commit a felony and get caught and then
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's good for like 30 or 60 days
ICE
for you
is
to
gonna
like
come.
change.
Well, and ICE
Change
is not.
jobs.
It's not ICE, it's the Mounties that'll come looking
Well,
for
no.
her. They're gonna come in full uniform on
To
horses
take her home.
To take her home.
But like even ICE here, they're more concerned about not Canada. Let's just say that.
No.
Well, they're more concerned about you not having permission to work in the United States, right? Like, if you have a green card, you can go get another
Well,
job.
your visa doesn't fully expire like that either.
That's what I'm saying, is that, like,
None
your
of this
visa
makes
doesn't
sense.
expire for, like, 30 to 60 days, right? So you have to find another job in
I
that time.
think what we need to remember is that these are romance novels.
They
None
had
of
to
this
have
shit-
some reason.
Yeah, but this is a shitty MacGuffin.
Yes,
they had to have
these are-
some reason for the fake marriage.
Yes, they had to. It needs to move the plot along. Anyway, but this is the first introduction. They mentioned the exes, so Becca's
Yes.
crappy ex comes back. His name is Sean. He's also the football hockey player. Sorry, I've got football romance on the brain at the moment.
And his big rival is the man she just marries.
Yes, so that comes up, and there's some mention. Do they mention the ex-wife?
Yeah.
He says that he has an ex-wife, but she's not.
That's right. That's why he's like, this marriage is fine. I've already done it. I've gone.
Yeah,
through
I've done it
fine.
once, been there, done that, bought that shirt. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know.
But see, my biggest thing is he's trying to be, so this supposed bad boy, right?
It's-
They mentioned.
yes.
It's playing this knight in shining armor bullshit. I hate the knight in shining armor.
I hate that they've got this dichotomy with him, right? Where they're like trying to paint him as this like really badass hockey player.
Who's a bad boy.
Who's a bad
But
boy.
he's never a bad boy in the book. He's a
No,
badass
no.
hockey player, and
But
he's
he's-
just the sweetest, most like chivalrous guy.
Yeah.
Well, and here's my thing.
Goes overboard.
They
with
make
it.
him the knight in shining armor. I hate the knight in shining armor. I hate the damsel in distress. Especially in romance. Because no one actually wants the goddamn knight in shining armor.
Because
he's never done anything. That's why his armor is all shiny and pretty.
But it goes with the princess implication,
yes,
right?
that's the thing.
Like, she can't take care of herself, so she needs this big burly
That
hockey
princess
player.
is
That's the problem
idiot.
for me.
That's the
save
problem. Okay, nothing against the fairy tales and the prince and princess and all that crap. But let's be real. If the princess goes for the knight in shining armor, he can't do shit to save her. He's never experienced battle or life or hardship. He doesn't know how to save.
She can't save herself. That's my main problem.
But that's the other piece. But like, I always have, every time, I love romance novels. I do love this. I love the guy who swoops in and does all, but not in reality.
But she came off as very milquetoast in this book,
yes,
right?
she did.
Like, she was just very kind of like, and maybe I just like the...
anxiety-ridden, like, just a mess somehow.
Maybe I just like the sassier heroines better, right?
Yes.
But I like it a little bit better when there's a little bit of back and forth between, like...
I do,
the
too.
main female character and the main, like,
not that they
love
don't
interest.
fight. They do... They have fallen out.
But she never pushes back, right?
No. She never pushes back or stands up for herself.
She's just kind of like smiles and nods at him when he's like, let's get married to salvage your green card, kind of thing.
I'll say this, listeners. Give us your opinions on Knight in Shining's armors and the damsels in distress. Drop it in our inbox, our email at adrinkybookclub@gmail.com or on any of our socials.
I would love your suggestion on a trope like that's done well.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are instances, I'm sure, where it has been done well and it can be done well.
See, it's the Knight in Shining armor versus the hero. The hero's gone through some shit. The Knight in Shining armor is too pretty. That's my issue.
Yeah, but like...
That's where it is.
But in this one, the princess is a little too,
yes, and the princess is a little too damsel-y and not too...
Yeah.
Not strong enough for us, maybe.
No.
Like, if you're gonna do a princess, I want fucking Princess Fiona from Shrek, right? I want her to beat people up.
I want Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Yes, exactly.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to do it.
Yes.
I mean, she was the mother of Richard the Lionheart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And John.
Yeah, she comes
and
off a
the
little
whole
bit
bunch of
like...
But
She comes off a little bit like a shitty Buttercup.
yeah.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Yes, and he's not a very good Wesley.
And he's a terrible Wesley. Okay, but nobody can do like Wesley like Carrie Elwes does.
I know, God.
I had a thing for 1987 Carrie Elwes.
You know what?
But anyway,
One of the books we should do is we should do a book versus movie Princess Bride. Well, down the line, we'll do
that one's one
those.
of those weird ones where it's equal for me.
Well,
it's like the Lord of the
go
Rings,
through
like the
talk
book and the
about it.
movie are equal. Anyhow, we've gotten
Anyway,
way off track. We've gotten way off track.
We sidetracked that. We'll save some of that for happy hour.
Speaking of misuse of tropes, let's move on to the
Misuse
next
of things.
topics.
So, Claire and I both had two different things in Chapter 7 about misuse of.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
So the first one was the misuse of an Uber. So they decide to get an Uber to go to LAX. So they're staying at this hotel. Like, they wake up the next morning and go, oh shit. And he lives in Denver and they're in LA right now. So they get an Uber and they're like driving around in the Uber towards the airport to catch their flight that he just like magically managed to pull out of their butt. And
with all of her info.
With all of her info, right? She shares zero information for him and he somehow manages to like osmose this into his brain.
Well,
because you have to give them your birthday when you buy the tickets, and he bought a ticket for her.
Maybe because
his people bought tickets, I think.
His people bought tickets.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe because they do mention, maybe because it's his rival's girl, and his rival has a reality show.
Okay,
maybe
but
that's
like
common knowledge. I don't know.
But how often do they say, I was born December 12th of 1985?
I don't know. I don't watch reality TV unless it's cooking competition.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that it was just, it
competitions.
came off very weedy that he kind of like had all of her information. Like he has like essentially Criminal Minds, like researchers working for him. Or who are just able to look up her information and buy a plane ticket.
Or they just didn't mention that you need any of that stuff.
Yeah, so
and then
anyhow.
poof, they're in first class.
Well, there's the misuse of Uber.
So anyhow, they're in this Uber and they're driving to LAX and she's like, I'm kind of hungry. So they ask the Uber to stop at a restaurant so they can sit down and eat somewhere. Which is, I don't know, not how Ubers work.
No.
Not unless you plug the stop into the phone.
And he was an exceptionally agreeable Uber, which may just go with, like, the improbable amount of hockey money that this man has. Like, maybe he just,
how
like...
would that guy know that? But they acted like everyone knew these hockey teams.
Yeah, but is it like a what's his bucket in 50 Shades of Grey, right? Where he just, like, has all of this fucking money.
Yeah, but he's really well known in Seattle. Is that where that...
Yeah, but he was
Don't
like...
even get me started on
but he was like some He was like some
super young uber billionaire.
Yeah, so yeah,
But Theo's in Colorado.
Yeah, so not in LA. But
and he's a hockey player, which, to be fair, in the United States is a relatively obscure like sport.
Like, I don't actually know any hockey players.
No.
I know we have a semi-pro hockey team.
Oh,
I know LA won the Stanley Cup a few years back.
Yeah, and that's the extent of my knowledge of hockey.
And I love hockey books. But
and I know that they make anywhere between like 150 to $250,000 in a year, but like that does not misuse of Uber.
Oh, party foul with the
confetti dildo.
Falling dildo.
Watch out for falling dildo.
So anyway, so they stop for food on the way to LAX because, Christina, why did they stop for food?
Because apparently LAX does not have good food.
Which is
patently
untrue.
Oh,
okay,
God,
first of all, this is LA and
now.
LAX. Yes, I go through LAX all the time. This is not a tiny little airport with bumfuck no food. This is a massive airport with like 8 terminals.
Stina, I'm somewhat concerned about the amount of moving that television is doing.
I will stop leaning on it. But
please don't break the TV.
Okay, it doesn't have like completely gourmet food, but they do not skimp on the good food because it is a massive airport in LA.
Yes.
And they breeze through security. You do not breeze through security
at
in LA.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't remember when this book was written.
And she wouldn't be able to have TSA pre-check because she's not a United States citizen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so does Hockey Bunny just unless they took, no, it wasn't a private jet, it was a commercial flight.
It was a commercial flight because they go first class.
And
yeah, because they go first class and get mimosas before it's even taken off, but that's a whole different
Just because your partner has a clearance to go through does not mean you do.
No.
And then you have to wait in the regular line by yourself.
Yes, we do that all the time.
Done that. We've done that.
I ditch Douglas or Doug every time we've traveled.
Yeah, we've ditched the sound guy before on vacation.
Oh, have you?
Because he doesn't have TSA pre-check,
Because he forgets to sign up for it.
But I've also ditched my own mother, who also refuses to get TSA pre-check, and she will only fly with me because she doesn't understand flying, right? I don't know, man.
Whereas my father's gallivanting the globe and probably knows more about flying than I do.
Anyhow, I have totally ditched people because, TSA pre-check is not, easy to get, and also, if I'm gonna pay for this, I'm gonna friggin' use it, man.
Yes.
So anyway, the fact that there was, 1, no food at LAX, and 2, they breezed through it, displays a fundamental misunderstanding about how both LAX and airports work.
Well, they're like, oh, we have an hour and a half to flight. You do not go to LAX an hour and a half before your flight. First of all, it is in the heart of downtown Los Angeles.
It is an international airport.
And unless it is ass cracks, 5 a.m. in the morning, you're going to get stuck on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
Especially during the work week.
Yes. So they spend an inordinate amount of time in chapters 7 talking about...
But they just breeze through the airport,
they
go
breeze
get married
through the
in Vegas, and then just fly right on back.
They breeze through the airport, there's shitty food at LAX, they order mimosas before it's even taken off, which I don't think they do on commercial flights.
Well, I was on a really early morning flight, and I got bumped one time, and I asked for mimosa, and they said, oh, we're out of champagne, and I was like, what? Why am I in first class? So I got a Bloody Mary.
I mean, clearly I'm the poor bitch in the...
Oh, no, I couldn't afford it. I didn't know enough at the time.
When I've gone there, it's because you get bumped.
That was the one time, and I was like, I want my damn mimosa, and no.
Look, I'm a Southwest girl. Southwest doesn't have first class. I have no concept of this.
Well, this was way back when United was kind of the one, and so we were frequent flyers to the point where got bumped constantly.
Yeah.
And so they'll serve drinks before you take off because everyone... Anyway.
I, a Southwest flyer, thought it was really weird that they got mimosas.
Moving on. So we've mentioned... moving on. We've mentioned it earlier where it's Bad Boy or the Knight in Shining Armor, and it never makes sense. Is he both? I don't think you can be both.
Which is he?
Is
he the hero or is he the bad boy?
He is an awesome hockey player that is not a bad boy. He's an awesome hockey player that has
He's a
some
big
rivals.
Freaking teddy bear.
Yeah.
He's a 6'4" teddy bear like they all are.
Yeah.
That's heavily tattooed.
That's heavily tattooed, which is, again, the big teddy bear.
Which brings me to something I don't really like. They have the real man picture for the cover, and that is not my thing normally. I mean, it's a good picture, right? I mean, it's a good picture.
He has no tattoos.
There's one little one on his bicep.
But that doesn't talk about how...
Yeah. Like, look, we got Photoshop. It's 2024. We got Photoshop,
Well,
guys. You can Photoshop
they actually
the
talk about the
tattoos
tattoos
on him because they were very specific
They're
about
very
the tattoos,
specific
right?
about
Like,
the tattoos and why he had them.
taking his pants off at one point, and she's staring at his chest because he has a giant like tattoo on his pec.
And
or
we're like,
something
that's
like
the giant
that.
thing you're looking at,
Girl.
I know, right?
Girl, you ain't looking in the right place.
But anyway, I like the drawn ones better for these fluff books. I don't like the real man ones. They're kind of creepy.
Yeah, but I'm also one of those people who gets like an image of a character in my head.
Yeah.
Which is probably why like movies frustrate me too.
Yes.
Is because like I get in my head how they look like and then I go see it in a movie and it is like
that's my problem with some of the Regency books because for the longest time Fabio was on the early like Harlequin novels.
Yeah.
And so it's always Fabio.
That's fair.
Ew.
And
that's
like,
fair.
He was never my type.
No.
So for me that was just an issue. Like I know for a lot of women they loved Fabio on the covers. But that's just
that's why I don't like watching
he's
the
too
movie
shiny.
first.
He's too pretty.
When you watch the movie first and then you read the book, you have that actor in your head, and that's not what I want. I want to picture the person I like better.
Well, so I get where you're coming from, but like a great example, Lord of the Rings. For me, I saw the movies before I read the books.
Oh no.
But it worked. For me going back, it worked because I was reading the books and I'm like, you know what? This fits the image I had.
Yes.
That one was phenomenal casting.
But to be fair, like Peter Jackson put a lot of weight into making sure that all of the characters like looked the part.
Something like Laudar, you'd have to.
Yes, and I will say there's a couple of exceptions to that. So like Outlander with Sam Heughan, like Sam Heughan looked exactly like how I imagined Jamie.
That was just
looking.
Both picturing it in the book and then I saw it later. Both of them were delicious. That was
Sam Heughan's a fucking snack.
Yes, the Harry Potter books were the most.
That one was
not
really
all
good
of the
casting. Yes.
Not all of the casting.
Yes,
but most of the casting was good.
Yes.
Let's see what other adaptations.
But I would also say, and I'm kind of like the nerd in the group. Like I've played The Witcher 3. Like Henry Cavill does not look like Geralt in the books, but Henry Cavill does a very good job of kind of like acting like that older, kind of like grizzled guy like Geralt really is in the video game. And it works.
That is the sexiest thing for me.
But also it's fucking Henry Cavill, so like...
anything with him.
Really anything with Henry Cavill.
You know what they did a good job on? I know, it's me. Bridgerton. They made a lot of, like, say, the Bridgerton kids... Like, you can tell that they look like the father.
Yes.
Like, when you have those comparison pictures.
But I've also
like,
seen the comparison. Like, I haven't watched as much Bridgerton as you have, but, like, I've seen a lot of, like, comparison pictures of, like, the younger and the older main characters, and they're, like, casting directors.
With Queen Charlotte, and,
Bravo.
They're right on.
Bravo. They're spot on.
Yeah, Lady Danbury and Charlotte.
Lady Danbury is my favorite, especially young Lady Danbury.
Yes.
Oh, I love her. She's so snappy.
She's the young badass that we all
That's
love.
what we love.
100%.
Yeah, I want her in my book.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. And to be fair, we didn't... This is a little asterisk that because of the X mentioned. They do at least have somewhat real-ish problems.
I mean, there's a deportation.
Yes. He might lose his contract.
Because he's not playing well.
Yes. I mean, so
they're having a rough season.
They both have the crazy exes.
It's like more real in terms... Like, it's not fabricated problems. They have
real problems.
Real problems. So, anyway... Now, the next one is...
Okay, so the next one, like, I am just irrationally... I don't know.
It ties into the hero, into
really
the
irks
good guy,
Claire.
into the knight in shining armor.
Yes, but I also think that there's a fair amount of, like, this book kind of finding its footing a little bit, which is, I think, kind of, like, this is a symptom of it, is that in chapter 11, she's talking about how she has a shitty car back in LAX, and it's not going to make the drive from LA to Colorado, which is completely fair. I mean, that's... an 8 to 10 hour drive, and if you have a piece of shit car, like, it may or may not make it all the way through, you know,
she's moving what
the
little
desert
stuff she
area.
has.
So she's moving what little things she has. So anyway, he's like, I have a solution for this, and he just buys her a car.
Yeah.
With his, you know, magical hockey money, right? The car is never mentioned again in the book.
Ever?
Ever.
I mean, she does drive somewhere, but
no, she doesn't drive somewhere. She has a driver. Remember,
Huh.
she's too nervous to drive, so she has, like, somebody pick her up. He, like, hires a private car for her to take her to the attorney.
Interview? Does she drive to her interview?
Maybe she does. But, like, it's never mentioned, like, it's never mentioned that she gets in her own car.
That's true.
Right? Like, it's just, he buys a car that is not only not described, and maybe I'm just the gearhead in the group, like, I want to know what kind of fucking car he bought her.
It doesn't even say?
Did he buy her a BMW M3, or did he buy her a Toyota Camry? What did he buy her?
I think it was red.
Was it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Red makes sense. But anyhow, like, as one of those editing
like
things.
Mary Kay?
I don't know. I don't remember, and I've had a bit of
Oh god, now we're adding MLMs into this.
Okay.
Let's avoid that.
Anyhow, I don't know, this just irrationally bothered me, is that the car, like, he buys her a whole fucking car that is never mentioned again.
But then she gets there.
Well, I think it was mentioned one other time about how she wishes she could drive the car or something.
Or she's like afraid to drive the car.
She's
but
afraid,
like,
yeah.
But he gets a private driver for her to take her to the meetings with the attorney later in the book.
True.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And like and he always goes with her, and they either get an Uber or he has some kind of driver to take them to like the parties and like the auction and things like that, right?
Yes, they're drinking. True. They probably need to get home safely.
Which is more than fair,
right.
But also like...
But he has bajillions of money, according to the book.
Apparently he has like a football player's salary on a hockey player's job.
That's a whole nother problem.
Which is a whole other issue I have with this book, okay, but we're not going to go that deeply into it.
But my main issue is they just met, they got married within 24 hours, and now they've decided not to have sex because they're married.
Yes.
Why?
In their weird condo. That's the dog.
I don't know if anybody heard the funny, weird, snorting sound.
He chortles.
That was the dog.
Yes. If you hear any chortling, it's the dog.
It sounded like a fart.
You can't ever tell what end it's coming out of.
Okay.
So
anyway. But the next thing you also have an issue with. We've mentioned it earlier.
Okay, so I have a thing for editing. This condo just bothers the living shit out of me.
They describe it as beautiful. It has the mountain.
It has the view of the mountains, but he takes her on the condo tour. And what I mentioned in the book is that the only thing that is mentioned in the condo tour are the bedrooms. And they only mention the bedrooms. They only talk about the bedrooms.
I thought it talked...
No. The kitchen.
No. The gym does not come in until later chapters.
But what about the big open area with the windows?
I mean, he talks about the windows.
About the view, and then the kitchen a little bit.
They look at the view, and then he talks about the kitchen. She's like, I don't know how to fucking cook. And he's like, well, neither do I.
I don't ever cook. Isn't it open concept or something?
It's an open concept condo that has multiple floors and... A basement and a gym upstairs that's also later in the basement. But anyhow, like...
But somehow his master is upstairs and her...
It is a condo in downtown Denver that has multiple floors and a basement that he bought with his hockey money.
Not distracted
that
by
has
others.
Views of the mountains, which... I don't know, man. Like, I have family in Colorado. Like, I don't think that hockey money is going to buy you a multi-floor condo with a basement and a view of the mountains.
And a separate garage, right?
And a separate garage. Right?
Like an actual garage, but it's separate from the house.
And Colorado is beautiful, but like people move there because Colorado is beautiful. So like,
and a guest room on the main floor.
There's a guest room on the main floor, and then the master bedroom is upstairs, and then there's a gym downstairs.
There's a basement.
Oh, there's a gym upstairs.
Does Colorado even have basements?
They don't generally have they don't need basements, number one, and number two, it's too hard. Like the ground is generally too hard for them to dig basements.
The ground's too hard. In some places it's under the water level, not in Colorado.
If it's a basement, it's like a crawl space or like a storm shelter. It's not like basements like you or I would think of in...
Oh, he does say it's not very big. Okay, hold on.
It's not very big!
I was quiet. That's what he says. I was quiet because I was looking for this.
Okay.
And he goes, come on, I'll give you the grand tour. I mean, it's not very big, but still. And then he's got an exposed staircase, so the loft is the master bedroom. There's a loft in a master bedroom.
How is the gym up there, too?
I don't know.
Hold on. Like the living room, it's got puppies. It's got high ceilings, angular thingy, mountains.
Angular thingies?
Angular thingies.
Sorry.
In the house?
The triangles outside.
It's like exposed beams type situation.
Okay. So he lives in like a loft condo.
Well, it's like a bedroom and a loft upstairs, and then downstairs.
It's like a bougie converted warehouse loft condo with a basement.
Off the hall of the kitchen is another bedroom.
Still sounds to me like one of exposed beams, like rustic cabin-y Colorado.
One of those things is not like the other one, and it's the entire fucking condo.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no mention of the gym, even though there's a tour.
Because they only talk about the bedrooms. Like the kitchen is briefly mentioned, and like there's a little bit of discussion.
But he never uses it.
But he never uses it.
Never ever.
Okay, then they do mention the gym, and it's upstairs.
Yes. Which is where the master bedroom, quote-unquote, loft is.
And that's where he's staying, but since they're
maybe
celibate
like
all of a sudden...
No, it wouldn't make sense to put a gym on the third
No.
floor because of all the equipment,
No.
all the weights. That doesn't make sense.
No,
And
it
you know
doesn't
he's
make
gonna
it
be
sense that
lifting
it's a
weights.
loft because you don't want to be lifting weights in a loft.
No.
Because it's not sturdy enough.
No. And you know he should be lifting weights, a big hockey player. It's not like he's just running on a treadmill.
I mean, he's definitely like weightlifting. It's not strictly cardio.
He
that
comes
man is
down all
doing.
sweaty.
I mean, have you seen hockey players? They're fucking huge.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
And there's an elevator somewhere.
I'm irrationally angry.
That's the part.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No,
There's
no.
an elevator because the condo
Oh.
is in a building. It's not like a standalone condo.
No.
No.
I mean, but that kind of
I
makes
just-
sense, right?
Like it's an apartment condo.
Yes, that's what I'm
building
saying,
thing.
is that it's a
Say that.
condo.
How's there a basement if it's a condo with an elevator?
Look, there are a lot of weird dichotomies in this, okay? He's a bad boy, he's a sweetheart.
They're in the
it's a
elevator
condo.
in the hotel.
It has 3 floors
No,
and a
this
basement and a
This
garage.
is when they're home.
None of this makes sense.
Tense. Okay. We approach.
Hey.
No, wait. Oh, is the elevator? Yeah, no, the
You think
elevator.
they're in the elevator at the hotel earlier
No,
before they
wait, hold on.
Oh, that's right, they do fuck in the elevator, don't they?
they start.
Oh no, that's during the charity thing. Maybe we're.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
Anyway, we're skipping ahead.
we're skipping
Anyway,
it.
anyway.
But yes, and then after the condo tour and more shit happens, then it starts getting real for both of them.
Well, they decide they're not going to have sex, and then it takes them, all of, 3 days to break their vow of chastity?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Because they really...
It goes from chapter 5
they both
with all
just
the
talk
sex
about it and talk about
to
it.
maybe chapter 22 when they get finally having the
Okay,
sex.
so there's 10 chapters in maybe a week.
Yeah, where they life happens. They go
And then
she's
it's
looking for a job.
non-stop sex.
Well, during the build up,
not that I'm complaining.
Well, no.
she finds a job. She helps him rediscover his love of hockey some way or another.
Whatever his little block is.
Yeah, and then the sex finally happens, and then you get multiple orgasms.
They break their vow of chastity and have so many orgasms.
And then we get the shower sex, and again, the physics of it.
Oh,
don't make
shower
sense.
sex.
Y'all, shower sex doesn't ever work like it says in the romance
No,
novels.
shower sex is dangerous, and if
Yes.
you don't use lube, it doesn't work.
It's
No,
really
it
not that
doesn't.
sexy because you're both not trying not to die.
Yeah, but you can't get it in because
You can't
it
get
washes
it in.
away all your...
Everyone is wet,
Yes.
right?
And not in the right way.
Lotion burns. You know what I mean?
Everyone's
It's
wet
just not-
and not the right way.
Unless you
it
have, a
turns
shelf.
everyone on, though. It does turn everyone on,
Well,
but then...
hold on. Maybe it's because a lot of people have the combined tub shower, so that doesn't work in that.
Oh,
Like-
No, definitely not.
Like we have a walk-in shower with a bench, but even
So do
that.
I, but I would fall off the bench and fall onto the granite and hurt myself.
And I've tried it in the combined bathtub shower. There's not enough room,
And you still have
And
to
also,
line up at the
remember-
right spot.
and then you might get jabbed in the back by not a cop.
And also remember, there
Yeah.
is a big height difference between the two of them, right?
Yes.
So, I had a walk-in shower when I was married and had a house. And, I mean, we could, sort of kind of do it, but it wasn't actually all that much fun because, we were trying to maneuver, and we didn't have that big of a height
slippery.
difference. It's slippery as fuck.
Oh,
slipped in the
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, this was drunk in Mexico, but I slipped in the goddamn shower and cracked.
And you weren't
3
even
ribs.
trying to have sex.
No, I was in the shower by myself.
We were trying to get ready for dinner.
Well, here's my other
Anyhow.
problem with this. So, first they're
Anyhow.
against the wall, so you got the wet... he's holding her against the wall again, and then there's the wet tile. Okay, but then she's up against the glass. So he's
Yeah.
fucking her against the glass, and
That's
I'm like,
gonna break.
it's
They just teleported
the
in the
glass
shower.
is, well, they just turn around, but the glass is gonna break, or it's gonna come off the hinges.
How does
or-
he not
or
slip in the
it's
shower
got-
while he's trying to turn around while he's holding her
Yeah,
and his
it's
dick is in her?
It's gonna swing open,
Does he
or
have a
however
magical,
the door works.
does he have
There's
a...
gonna be glass in
Yeah.
your ass.
Maybe he has all the shower attraction sticky things in.
Is his dick prehensile?
I hope so.
There have been a lot of
Okay, let's ask the dildo.
confetti
So the
dildo.
confetti dildo is perfectly straight.
And it's a
But
decent
there's
size, but it's
there's
not
just
huge.
a slight curve.
But
to
let's
it.
be
Okay
real.
size. How many inches would
Some-
you say that is?
I would
This
say
is like
solidly
6.
average.
Wait, we've got a tape measure somewhere.
We do?
Solidly
Oh,
average.
let's tape measure it.
It is a solidly
So
average
so
erect,
confetti dildo is about 5.5 inches.
which is solidly average, I think, for
It's a decent sized cock.
an average dude, right?
It's not like, oh god, what are you gonna do with
Look,
that?
it's
But
not
it's
a
still
chub.
good.
It's not a chub, and it's not like a tree trunk.
Right.
But confetti dildo is perfectly straight. Some cocks curve.
Yes, but it's also not prehensile. You cannot control the muscle movement in your dick that well.
Honey, can you control
No.
your
Do not ask him.
No,
I don't
no,
want to
no,
know that.
no.
I don't want to know that.
Good point. We don't need to. That's a little TMI.
Confetti dildo says that is highly improbable.
True. Confetti dildo. We should name confetti dildo. Actually, here, write in suggestions for
what we should call
what
confetti
we should name
dildo.
our confetti dildo.
Because we'd like a name for him.
Yeah, we would like a name for him. And get creative. I don't want just like Dick or Johnson or...
Yeah, let's not do the standard porn star
Dick
names.
Johnsons or Tim Johnsons or...
Let's get real creative or call him Frank.
It can be our good inside joke.
Yes. For all our listeners here.
Give us a good name for confetti dildo and we'll shout you out in the next episode.
And then this is the next one. Laurel, you've mentioned it with the charity auction.
Okay, so the charity auction, and they're auctioning off different things, and the hockey players come from all over the country. It's a big deal. And then the ex shows up. And they already hated each other, the guys, before this, but...
They're rival hockey players.
Yes. But now she's in the way, and her dick boyfriend wants her back, and they're married and all this stuff. She auctions off her dance lessons because that's what she does. She's going to be a dance teacher. Dancer. And they go back and forth and back and forth. He pays $300,000.
The husband, the fake husband.
To beat out the ex-boyfriend. $300,000 for...
Isn't it like
the lesson with his wife?
Or
again,
like
this is
lessons.
And again,
too?
this is where like the improbable hockey money comes in, right?
Improbable, and she kind of eats it up because it's his POV, but then she tells it in her point of view in the next chapter, and it's just it's
a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's a little ick. I would say this kind of...
Yeah.
Again, this is the whole hero knight in shining
It's a little bit of an icky plot point, right? Like, it's kind of a weird way of moving your narrative from a situation where, like, oh, they're in marital heaven even though they're, like, really fake married, to, like, this place conflict. Where there's conflict,
the conflict,
right?
bringing back the ex-boyfriend, and that's when he comes back in
Yeah,
her
so
life.
the ex-boyfriend comes back, and she's uncomfortable that he spent all this money on her, which is, like, completely fair, also.
Yes.
Because it's supposed to be like, we're just in this marriage of convenience.
But it is
yes,
also...
we're having sex, but...
But it's a weird power dynamic, too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He had all the money.
He kind of bought her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But this does introduce the conflict.
$300,000.
It smacks a little bit of, like, P. Diddy, which is, like, relevant
for the
moment.
Now he's Diddy.
Is he just Diddy now? I didn't realize that he dropped the P.
He dropped P a long
Anyhow, what I'm saying is that
honestly,
it's just a weird...
if he dropped the P for real a long time ago, this probably wouldn't be a discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Anyhow, there's just like a weird amount of like, it's just a weird power imbalance, and it just feels kind of very like...
He throws a lot of money at it.
It feels very,
he's been throwing a fuck ton of money at her, period.
Yes, he's bought her like magical rings and a brand new car, and he has this magical fucking like...
Don't forget the dress. He picks out a dress
that's
for
right.
her, he
that's
and his
right.
mom. And that's a whole other issue. So he is supposedly
we did mention the family thing.
A very close only child with his parents, and then he has to say, oh yeah, and I married this girl, I didn't tell you about her at all, and on top of it, then they like her, and then they have to say, well, it's a marriage of convenience, like she's not going to stick around. Don't get too close.
But he also kind of plays his parents off as being like very everyman, like very solidly middle class, right? And he's just like this star hockey player who apparently makes
and he loves him so much, and he's so close,
like
and then
Tom Brady level money. You know what I mean? Like
this is where they're introducing the exes now. I mean, there's the ex-wife who just
magically appears in the condo, which I'm sorry, as the divorced human in this, just does not happen.
Ex-wife pops up while they're fucking on their couch, I think.
While they're fucking on their... She just walks into his condo because she apparently
still
has a key.
On the couch.
Because she apparently still has a key.
Because he didn't bother to change the locks.
Look, I don't care how good of a relationship you have with your ex. When you divorce someone, you change your locks, you move into different places, and you sell your house, you do whatever it is. I don't care how cordial you are with this human. You don't just, not change your locks or not take the key back from them.
I mean,
right?
to be fair, I've never been divorced, but I've fucked an ex.
Yes, but in the same vein, I've known people who have been friendly with exes, and it hasn't been in the situation where the ex just randomly walks into their house.
No, you're not going to just randomly walk in their house.
So, my previous relationship, we weren't married, but we were very much together. I helped him move into his apartment and all that stuff, had the key. We broke up, but I still had the key because we were friends, and we shared really close friends. So I had a key, but I always made sure if I was going to go over for something, he knew I was coming.
Yes.
Because I don't just randomly pop in. And in my occasionally we fucked on the washing machine.
Yeah. And in my situation, like, I gave the key back when I, like, broke up with that person. Or, you know, like...
But I think that's less likely with an actual
divorce.
You
know what I think happened? I think I asked if I could have the key because I knew I was going to be out late. And I didn't want to drive all the way back home. And he was closer to where we were having the event.
Yeah, but it's still a situation where, like, you tell the other person...
Oh, yeah, he knew I was coming.
As a courtesy that you're coming, right? You are now no longer, like, own and take up space in that home. Right? Like, even if you're the person who moves out, you still, as a courtesy, you are no longer, like... You don't have the same relationship that you did before you broke up or before you got divorced.
You're a good human.
But I think you've also we've all entertained exes, but I think it's less likely when you're divorced because you had to go through so much
to leave
and get that over with.
Yes, it's different.
But I also have gotten out of it, right?
But I've known people who've had cordial relationships with like ex-spouses, and it's still not at that level where like they still have a key to the house and they just walk the fuck in whenever they feel like it.
My ex was still living with his ex-wife. And she walked in on me giving him a blowjob on the sofa.
So it's possible, but
it was a fantasy of his.
You didn't say that before?
It was a fantasy of his. That he wanted to get
still,
caught
like,
fucking,
but it still comes off as a little rude for like the ex to just walk into the space that someone else has. You two have concluded,
but they are not connected in this book.
One half of this
relationship, not been in the
because she's flighty and wants to. I don't know.
Yeah, she hasn't even been in the city. They haven't seen each other since they got divorced.
But she
only appears in this one part of the book. She's mentioned.
Doesn't she come twice?
She's mentioned once,
she comes
and then
over
she
again.
appears, and then disappears, and that is it.
But they talk about her.
I thought she confronts Becca later.
Yeah, she confronts Becca later. Like the ex shows up
twice.
again.
Yeah,
but still, like
it's during the ex's period.
And to be fair, she's also kind of a poorly developed character to begin with.
Yeah,
but like, she also doesn't come off as never comes off as like spiteful enough to just like walk into his house because.
No,
she knows that he hasn't. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that the solidly average person would be slightly mortified.
Oh no, she's not like that. But I think she knows that like she messed him up enough supposedly that he wouldn't be with anyone, and here he is married.
Mm-hmm. No, but I don't know. I didn't have like the greatest relationship with my ex-husband at the end, and I don't like wish ill of him enough that I'd be like, I've ruined him so badly he's never gonna date again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because he's not worth it.
Oh yeah, yes, but also
he's not even worth the energy.
But also,
you waste
I'm
on
a decent human who also like feels like I still want him to be happy.
I'm the vindictive bitch, and it's just not worth that kind of spiteful energy.
At the same time, right? Like it's not worth it to like wish ill on that person, right?
It just depends on the ex for me.
well, no. So.
But also, there's a reason they're an ex if they're a spiteful.
Yes.
I will go full vengeance, and I've done it.
On any ex?
Well, no, I didn't. It's one.
Okay.
I went full vengeance, but once it was done, I kind of just forgot about it.
But they also probably deserved it.
Oh, I had a lot of fun with the full vengeance because I was hooking up with another ex.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
They probably deserved it. But anyhow.
Okay.
The ex-wife appears, and I don't know, it felt very weird to me that, like, this was the choice that the author made to kind of like, as part of the MacGuffin of driving them apart, is the ex-wife just randomly shows up. But I feel like they didn't talk about her very much because she was like...
Dick down! Dick down!
Penis foul.
Okay, no, I need to stop playing with the dildo. Here, Claire, you take the dildo. I'll stop playing with the cock. I'll stop playing with the cock.
I'm going to hold on to the confetti Johnson. Okay.
But I think also because she never actually like appears in the book.
Valerie doesn't move the plot, but the ex,
Becca's ex, Sean, because Sean actually appears
because Sean is the rival sports.
He's in the whole book,
but he plays because he's in the beginning.
Yeah. But they have to find a way for him to reappear, and that's in the he comes back for the
that comes back in chapter 37.
Where
again,
he's on a lot of steroids and has gone crazy.
But again, it's like a flimsy pretext.
It kind of attacks her.
Right, like, I'm gonna use all of this shit for my reality TV show to blackmail you.
Right.
He does the blackmail. Well, he does that after. No, he does that before.
No, but that's
he
when
does
it comes
that
out,
earlier.
right?
He
Because
does
he
that
just
earlier. The blackmail's up in here somewhere, I think.
Right.
Well, but he suggests it, right? He's like, oh, and I think it was at the auction, right, where he implies that he has all of this footage of her, right, and then it like comes out that he drugged her at a party and like selectively cut this footage to blackmail her, which again is like a very flimsy pretext.
But it also gets her fired from her job.
Yeah.
And then so he pushes into her apartment and essentially admits to being on steroids and he's
all roided
out. Yeah, he's all roided out. Which,
then,
to be fair, roid rage is a thing.
And then the next chapter, Theo comes in and saves the day, and like she's freaking out, like everything's gonna fall apart, and he's like, no.
Well, mostly because he beat the shit out of him.
And he's like, no, the apartment is wired with cameras everywhere. I'm like, you couldn't have told her that to begin with. Like, she's moving into your home and you've got cameras everywhere, and they're
and
like...
you just, like, don't
think they fuck in the kitchen at one point?
Yeah, I don't know,
you've got
man.
cameras
Like,
everywhere?
so I feel like
bring cameras everywhere. If I fucked in the kitchen, I could watch it.
Okay, but I feel like he has worse, like, kinky blackmail on her.
Maybe I should do that.
But I feel like...
I would not want to watch myself having sex just because, like, I don't want to see the... I would be too focused on, like, the body image issues than I would on the sex.
Body dysmorphia is too bad for me to actually enjoy.
I just don't want a video, and I wouldn't mind watching
myself have sex. But anyhow, like, I feel like Theo has more blackmail on her of them doing kinky things than, like...
They don't get into that.
Like, Sean, but, like, that Sean does... of her, like, blacked out at a party.
Yeah, but the blacked out at a party. I mean, to be fair, Theo...
But he, like, tries to paint her as a druggie at one party.
And to be fair, Theo and Becca are married, so it doesn't come off as bad.
No, but that's fair. But at the same time, like, it was, like, one episode of him feeding her drugs... Right? And I realize that it's like, you know...
State rape.
But at the same time, like, it's reality television, okay? I feel like all of us know reality television is not real.
Claire is emphasizing this.
I am emphasizing all of this with the confetti dick.
Who needs a name? Because he's a character in this book.
Confetti Johnson is what I'm going to call him.
He's our co-host.
Right now.
Until you guys give us a name, he's our other co-host.
Yeah. So after all of this happens, they have this huge... falling out fight, and then all of a sudden they realize that they've caught feelings for each other.
And it's all magic.
I think we should have 3 Johnsons, because I feel left out.
I feel like everybody needs a dildo at this point.
Okay, well then we'll get other colorful dildos. It's fine.
We're all gonna have a dildo and we're gonna use it to gesture.
Okay, so instead of just one name, give us 3 names.
We need 3 names for all of the dildos
that are going to be our co-hosts.
That are
need
definitely
to pick the first one that we actually own first.
Not
but
gonna
we will get 2 more.
We're only using these for emphasis, not for.
We were using them for scientific.
You do you
practices here.
You do you.
We'll do more anyway. But yeah, they realize it's real, and then they say we love each other, and then all of a sudden there's the magic house.
Okay, so
that's right.
She comes back from a trip, and he picks her up from the airport.
Well, she goes back to see her mom.
Yeah.
So she's already kind of like, ugh.
Because of the fight.
Well, because she doesn't have a great relationship with her mom.
Yeah, and then they show up the house.
Well, he picks her up at the airport
Yeah.
and just randomly takes her to this house that he wants to buy.
I want to buy this house for us, and we can have the whole thing and have kids and make it real and all that.
The 2.5 children and the dog and the picket fence.
Mansion.
They do have a dog.
They already have a dog.
Because he got her a dog.
About the dog.
Yeah.
We did forget about the dog. But anyhow, he wants the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and the dog. And she gets wildly uncomfortable, which is, like, completely fair.
Freaks out.
I'm sorry. I don't want someone to buy me a house. First of all, unless they follow me on Pinterest or know me uber well and know what my dream house looks like, don't buy me a fucking house.
But they haven't ever talked about babies either.
No!
But again, this is a little bit of that power play shit where she's just like the damsel in distress princess.
He picked out the house without her.
Who can't do squat for herself, and he just picks the house for her.
Who wants the man to pick out the house?
He's like, I'm going to buy this super expensive house for you.
No man can pick out a house for a woman.
Oh, no. Definitely not.
Maybe a gay man.
I still want to pick my own house.
Yeah, but even then, like, I wouldn't let my gay best friend pick my house. Like,
I'd let him design my closet.
My gay best friend would pick a very different house for me than I would choose to buy with my own money, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we want to, us women...
Like, I would absolutely let my gay best friend, like, design my living room and, like, help me choose a color palette, right? And pick some inspiration for how I design. Mine would be able to help
design my closet.
But, like, I wouldn't let him pick my house for me.
Fair.
The
you know
only
what I
gay
mean?
friends I have are lesbians.
Yeah, but even then, like, I would still, like, take some advice from my bi-lesbian, like, I have a rainbow of friends,
or
okay?
any friend, but
like,
let's just put this out here now. We'll probably bring it up again. I don't know all the letters anymore in the LGBTQ blah 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 blah.
yeah.
I know it's IA.
I think
All of the
isn't
letters.
it
All the letters.
LGBTQIA plus?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to remember that. I'm sorry. But
We're very lifestyle friendly here.
Yes.
You do you.
some of our
absolutely.
my nearest and dearest are on the queer spectrum. I'm just going to call it that.
Yes.
Queer spectrum.
You do you.
I don't care.
It's a wild world out there. We love everybody.
Love who you
Anyhow,
love.
what we're implying is that, like, I wouldn't necessarily,
Want
like...
anyone to pick a house for
I
me.
wouldn't want anyone to pick a house for me.
This get back to the princess, damsel in distress,
Yes.
Princess, knight in shining armor.
Again, this
shit.
comes back around to,
and
like...
the money imbalance.
Yes.
Yeah, the power imbalance here,
Are
right?
you pointing at me with that?
I'm pointing at you. with
Stop
confetti,
pointing the
with
dildo at
confetti
us.
Johnson.
She's not just pointing; it's like winking. It's like shaking at me.
Is this Tip winking at you?
Yes. Okay, we need to find other
Look.
crazy colored dildos.
Look, I have no filter, guys. You will find this out very
Oh,
quickly.
I'm the kinky fuck of the group, so...
Anyhow,
Anyway.
there's a huge, like, power imbalance here.
Back to the book. This is the final conflict. This is the final conflict.
She draws a line at buying me a house, which is fair.
But
But
then
that's
there's the
not
baby.
why.
It's the baby.
Oh, that's right. That is
Yeah.
the baby.
So now she tells them that she can't have babies.
And then he freaks out. But, like, they've never talked about it. This should not be a freak out
Yes.
situation.
I don't think he freaks. Well, I mean, he looks sad, and then she leaves him.
One of them has freaked out or something, but the baby's...
And maybe it was too much, right? Again, there's a power imbalance here, right? Maybe it was too much.
To be fair, they've probably also only been married 6 months.
Yes, and it was also supposed to be fake, and she's just now realized that she's caught feelings for him, and now she's like, oh shit, he wants the 2.5 kids and the picket fence and the 2-story
And
house
they've
and
never
the dog.
talked about anything.
And they had
Because
not
it's supposed to be fake, and it's only
discussed
6
any
months
of
in.
this, right? Which is like more than fair, right?
I mean, I don't know. When when Doug and I started dating, we didn't talk about the babies thing.
Yes, but at the same time,
It took
like,
us a year or two once we knew it was getting serious to talk about the babies thing.
but I could see how she would be a little bit uncomfortable, and she would kind of feel, again, that power imbalance of like, he's doing all these things for me, and I
Yes.
can't give him what he really wants, which is a kid,
Yes.
right?
Like, should this be
No,
real if I
instead
can't
of-
even do the whole thing?
No, instead of having a conversation about it, like,
She
you
runs
know,
away.
you should.
She runs away.
She just runs.
But then she stays with his friends, his hockey friends.
She goes and stays with his hockey friends that she just met.
And has they've become friends.
They've become friends.
But seriously,
it's still his friends.
Yes.
Yes.
And then after a few days or like a week or whatever, he figures his shit out and goes after her.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they get into
Yes.
the makeup and the happily ever after crap.
Yeah.
I think he's like, I came for my wife.
Yes.
Yes, I came
I'm
for my
here-
wife.
I'm
And
here
it
for
felt
my
very
wife.
Borat for me. Like, I came for my wife.
But then you get that again because it is a romance novel. You
And
get
they go
the
to
happily
talk,
ever.
but then they just do it in the car, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just, like, fuck in the car on the way.
And
Yeah.
it's good.
And
And
it's
then-
fine, right? Like, I'm here for my wife. And she's like, oh, yeah, I like that.
Well, because she's also talked to her mother, and
That's
mom knocked
right.
some
That's
sense into
right.
her.
And mom is like, why are you being weird?
Because I had bad relationships, you shouldn't. Blah, blah,
Yes, because I have a, fucked up relationship with my childhood, which again, fair, but also
but-
like have a fucking conversation like an adult.
I have to say, there are other hockey books that I've read where they force the people into therapy because and I like those because they face their trauma. Anyway,
Anyhow,
but instead of the house, he buys her a fucking dance
he
studio.
buys her a dance studio
So
instead.
the imbalance is still there.
He's like, I took all the house money that I don't know, magically pulled out of my hockey, but is it because no, it was before they like made the Stanley Cup playoffs that he
Yes.
bought her the studio, right? Like she gets the studio and they win the Stanley Cup playoffs in the same chapter.
Whatever.
Something
and then
like
it's all
that.
happily ever after. And then there are 2 epilogues.
Yeah, which is funny because he's like, I'm going to take the house money and I'm going to buy you a studio for your hobby, which
The studio doesn't cost as much as a house.
would still make me wildly uncomfortable that somebody like took all of the house money and bought me a studio for me to go do my
Hey,
activity
look,
in
if
instead.
he bought me a bakery, I'd be happy.
Without having a conversation
True,
with me about
true.
it.
Now, if it was an empty building to convert, I'd be more comfortable with
It
that.
was an empty building. They spent all the money to convert just like she
Yes.
wanted it.
That'd be
Yes.
okay if they mentioned it. But in the epilogue, they have dance studio sex. He's won the championship.
Yeah, they fuck in the dance studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he wins the NHL championship.
And then
And then they have a big party.
yes.
Yes.
And in the second epilogue, they talk about the next actor. And if you hear weird sounds, it's just the other dog licking her ass.
It's just a dog licking her.
Oh god,
privates.
it's so distracting.
But so I mean,
I'm
there
the
is
only
that.
one.
But the last thing is, this book has a bonus scene. But I would recommend reading the book, and then you sign up for Nikki's.
You get on her
newsletter.
email list. Her
Yes,
newsletter.
and then you can read the epilogue. And the epilogue is good. We're not going to give it away. You can go and find it and read it for yourself.
It's magical, apparently.
We're gonna. That's for Nikki.
I didn't do it, but I probably should.
I told them about it, so they don't need to read it because
Yes.
it's
Anyway.
it's like a page and a half. Anyhow, so that's the book.
Support the author.
Yes, support
Yeah.
the
Sign up
author.
for her newsletter. I'm sure she's a lovely human.
The book was fun,
It was fun.
and even with all this stuff we have about it,
I had to be slightly drunk to read it.
it made a discussion.
That would have helped. Okay, so we have these really fun ways that we're gonna rate.
We have yes.
We're
So-
gonna rate drinks and spirits. We're gonna rate the book, and we're gonna rate the spice level.
And if you are curious about what these ratings are, we will share them on social media, but they are also on our website, which is romanceotrocks.com. And if you go to the About section into the, what did I call it? I can't remember at the moment. It's like the
Savor and Sin Index.
and Sin Index. And it'll have our ratings. And they're fun.
So the first one is drinks and spirits. So these are the ratings. 5 is kept going back. 4 is all-inclusive resort.
If you've been to an all-inclusive resort,
You know
if
what
you
we
know,
mean.
you know.
3 is happy hour. 2 is need a different drink. And 1 is who picked this place?
I'd say, are we all keep going back on this? The Steeple Ridge? We really like the Steeple Ridge.
Yeah, we like the Steeple Ridge. I mean, I would say it's like more like an all-inclusive resort.
I
I
know,
know, it's between 4 and 5 for me.
I do like it.
But I like the hotter bourbon. Like I'm turning into like
See, I don't.
I love the hot bourbon,
I don't
but
like
I
hot.
enjoy this one.
Christina
I
and
like
the sound
sweet.
guy have kind of turned me into a bougie bourbon drinker.
Yeah, welcome
and I
to
don't
our
like
group.
them so sweet anymore.
I am a rum person, so I like.
Yeah,
rum because
she
it's
likes the sweet.
I like sweet.
Laurel likes
It
the sweet.
just kind of depends. I like this one. It has a bit of the heat and it has some of that sweet. And
But I could drink enough of it that.
Laurel and I have had
Yeah.
2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Claire's trying to stay sober. so-
healthy pours.
Healthy
too.
pour. We do. If you drink with me, you're gonna have.
Look,
good
if I
pours.
get too drunk, I get really fucking weird.
She's also using the confetti dildo
I am
as a face.
a little buzzed and using Confetti Johnson
To point and
to
everything
point,
else.
to gesture wildly at everyone else while I
Okay,
talk.
so when we do the books, we've got 4. This is a little different. You've got swallow, sip, and spit, and also lastly, read while drunk. So swallow is something we love.
We love it.
Sip is meh,
Pretty good.
pretty good, not bad, not great. Spit is obviously, we didn't
Awful.
enjoy it. So there are certain books we're obviously going to read that we're going to hate. But again, it's each to
But
their
that's not
own.
hate. It's
It's
just
not
like,
hate. It's just not us.
No,
it's not for us.
It's just a yuck for us,
Yeah,
maybe.
and nothing against the author, nothing against the
No.
the book.
But out of
It's just
4
not a thing. And then the last one, and again, you'll see these are also indicated with emojis, because why not? Then there's the last one,
read while drunk.
read while drunk. These are the ones where it's like we couldn't read it without being very, very drunk.
Yes.
And I guarantee you we will encounter those books because our sound guy, Doug, my man, has made some
He
suggestions.
has a lot of very wild suggestions.
Weird
That he-
suggestions.
things are entertaining. And we will have them later on. And we'll have guests
Yeah.
that will join us and comment as well.
Look,
Some
Claire,
will be weird, some will be normal.
I'm here for a
For
weird
lack
time.
of a better term,
Why
I
not?
guess.
So what does everyone think
Mainstream.
on this book, on Fake Out Hearts? I want to say it's between there's not enough spice for me.
It's solidly a sip for me. Like,
think it's a good
didn't,
sip,
I
yeah.
didn't hate it, and I
I'm
didn't
still
love
more
it.
of a spit.
I think
It's
the
not
other
a read while drunk, but it's a spit.
I like the other books in this series better.
Yeah,
I've read the other books in the series. I like those better. This one was not as.
I really had to suspend my disbelief for this one because there was a lot of me just being like, oh, the magical hockey money has entered the chat. Oh, the crazy ex-boyfriend has entered the chat. Oh, the crazy ex-wife just walked into the house. Of course she's entered the chat, right? Like, there was just a lot of me just being like, what the fuck?
Mine was like, oh, obvious.
So I feel
Yes.
like
It's gonna happen.
the average rating for the book is between spit and sip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, we're gonna rate spice.
We're gonna rate the
Alright.
spice. So 5 chili peppers is rode hard and put away wet. That is exceptionally spicy.
Yes.
4 is where's the vibrator, or in our case, Confetti Johnson.
Read with one hand.
3 peppers is dicks in detail. 2 is dicks have entered the chat, but they're not necessarily the main character.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 pepper is a disturbing lack of dicks, just like
That's a problem.
That is
That's
a
a problem.
capital P problem, because
Yes.
this is all about spicy books.
I've got to say, this is between 2 and 3, because you've only got like 1 or 2. You got 3 sexy times. Granted, they last multiple chapters.
They last multiple chapters.
But there's only 3.
There's a lot of
3 main
improbable
ones.
sex positions.
Improbable sex.
I don't think that they actually describe his dick in detail.
No, it's decently graphic about the sex, but no dick details.
There's a
about the
lot of
plots.
improbable sex positions, not so much like talking about how well hung.
So between
Theo
dicks
is.
in detail to dicks of entered
I
the
mean,
chat.
I would call it dicks have entered the
2
chat.
to 3.
2
Like,
or 3. 2 or
Look,
3.
I've read Smuttier Smut.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
we've read
Oh,
Smuttier
yeah.
Smut.
Even though they do at least get to it right away, like, it doesn't have to be that first couple chapters like this book, but I'm not a slow burn, like,
No, I don't like the
person.
slow burn. Look, the entire reason we're reading these spicy books is for the spicy.
The only time I like a slow burn is in Enemies to Lovers, and I
Oh,
want them.
those are
Yeah.
fun.
I want them to swing wildly from like beating the shit out of each other to having sex.
I want some hate fucking.
I want hate fucking in there. I want the sex to be angry.
Yes, the hate fucking.
And I want it to be like, I want it to like very quickly go from like, oh, they're like fighting to they're like sex fighting.
Yeah, the fighting becomes
Yeah.
fucking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
last
That
series
is
had
the
that.
only time I like a slow burn, and I want them to like really hate the ever-loving shit out of each other before they start fucking.
That'll be one of the tropes we'll cover.
That will be one of the tropes.
I'm
We will
sure.
definitely
We'll,
do it.
we'll use the confetti Johnson.
Anyhow.
We'll use confetti Johnson to pick future ones. If you
Anyhow.
have other creative ideas on how to pick books involving dildos and whatnot, drop us a line.
Look, we have eyeballs and critical thinking skills. We haven't read everything that's out there, so we would love your suggestions
Yes.
on more books to read.
Check us out on social media. Everything is going to be some variation of Romance OT Rocks on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok.
All the places that you
All the
find
places.
the social media.
Granted, none of us quite understand
all
TikTok.
of us are too old to understand TikTok.
But
We
we'll
watch
figure it
it.
out.
Yeah.
We'll
I
figure
know.
it out.
Look,
We'll be there.
I watch Instagram reels of TikToks that were popping up
Yes.
3 months ago.
Same.
So there's that.
Anyway, I wouldn't recommend this book specifically. I would recommend earlier books in the series.
Look, it's a fun, like, if you are getting drunk on a beach in
Oh,
Mexico.
yeah, this is a
I think if you
This
need
is-
just a little fluff in between some real serious, like, world building stuff, that'd
This
be okay
is a good
too.
palate cleanser,
Yeah.
right? So it's like if you read The Lord of the Rings and you're like, I need something that is way less heavy, that is 100% more fucking in it.
Right.
Like, this is a great one to just kind of
Sometimes
like...
you just need the good
So
stuff.
here's a random question.
Sometimes you want to have zero
Have you
thoughts.
drop a line too? Lord of the Rings fanfiction.
That's not my particular,
Oh.
but it is out
But I
there.
do love Lord of the Rings, maybe?
We should if
We could
someone
totally
out
try
there
that.
has a Lord of
Look.
the Rings fanfic that if you think is fun or interesting, let us know. We'll probably get to it.
Look, at Claire Collins if you want to suggest the fan fiction, because I'm the weird one who
Hey, there's
knows
nothing wrong
entirely
with
too
fan
much
fiction.
about that. No, there's nothing wrong with fan fiction. I have read some excellent fan fictions.
And we're going to cover one of them because it was brought up to me on something. Shameless plug, I absolutely love Amplify Planner. And we had at one point a private like Patreon group where we did a virtual meetup and we started talking romance novels and someone mentioned to me about
Clippy porn.
Clippy fan fiction.
Clippy.
Oh.
And for those who don't know, if you're too young,
If you're too young,
Clippy was the virtual assistant in Microsoft Office. He's a anthropomorphic
paperclip.
paperclip. There is fan fiction smut about a freaking paperclip.
He has no genitalia to speak of.
He's just eyeballs on a paperclip. Anyway.
Look, it's Rule 43, okay? If you can think of it, there is internet smut about it.
I would rather have Viggo Mortensen.
Yes.
I mean, I could definitely
Or
probably
Cavill.
look. I could
Whoa.
definitely find us some Lord of the Rings fan fiction that just pairs. Like there is probably a Fellowship of the Ring orgy out there somewhere.
I am sure there is.
Just for fun, maybe, yeah.
Maybe. We'll get
I don't know,
there.
man. I don't know. It could get pretty weird, guys. So,
So,
just warning you.
heavily recommend the Steeple Ridge bourbon. If you can
yes.
find it. I believe it is limited
Look,
sales
I
from
s-
Iowa or online. Is it Iowa? Yes.
I got it.
Iowa and online.
I saw it at the local grocery store recently.
Okay, so now they're distributing it more
Yes.
widely. So go if you look. It's a good drinking,
It's good,
sipping bourbon.
Yeah.
We're just sipping
As
on
we chat.
Empty
just chilling
stomach.
and
The,
sipping.
the book, if you want a nice, quick palate cleanser, this is great for you.
Look, if you can suspend your disbelief and you don't want to like dedicate any brain cells to plot, this is great.
Like, listen, and subscribe. I think we're done, right?
Yeah,
we're done.
so
Yeah,
OT
we're
rocks.
done. We've
Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks
Two
for
of
listening.
us are too drunk to continue.
The dildo is flying. Let's be real.
Confetti Johnson has not been drinking as much as we have. I think I just accidentally named the dildo.
Well, someone will give it a different name.
I will have a
you know
different
what would be
name.
a great picture?
What?
Confetti dildo in a glass of whiskey.
I mean,
Yes.
We'll do that at some point.
I
Just
thought you
the
should have
tip.
a drink.
Anyway, okay.
Okay.
So thank you for listening. Like, listen, and follow. We're on, I don't even know,
all the
podcast
things.
things.
And
We'll-
find us on romanceotrocks.com.
Yes, .com, social media.
Thanks for listening to us
Thanks for
ramble
yes.
about a book for an hour and 10 minutes.
Welcome to the chaos.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.